Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Not Content Podcast. My name is Jerome Cuson, joined as always by Brian. And in honor of Easter, we are going to be focusing on Jesus for the next 3 weeks. Don't worry, we're not going to pray. This is just I'm not religious, so we're just going to be talking about some Jesus movies. We are first going to talk about Godspell, a movie that Brian. Well, I'm going to let Brian kind of talk about it in just a moment here. Please leave a 4 or 5 star review on Apple and Spotify to get those algorithms going. Like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Click the bell icon for notifications. Brian and I disagree about Godspell in probably the biggest way possible. This is probably going to be a short episode because I don't want to argue about it because I think we could not be more
Well,
misaligned.
I don't want to argue. I just have these extensive notes that read as if this was like a horror movie or a sci-fi movie or something. I kept waiting for the shoe to drop that some kind of twist was going to happen because listen, the beginning of this movie is this John the Baptist dude who's acting like Doctor who magically goes into these random people's lives and they can only see him, and then somehow he controls their mind into joining them. Did I miss something there?
I mean, I genuinely wonder if you saw this on stage, would you feel different?
Well, the thing is like the intro of this movie. I don't know if it's the same as the stage, because the stage, I know it's a successful musical and all that stuff, but
Very
this
successful
movie,
musical, and I do want to point
I
out
don't know, man. It just opens up like as if it's like a weird horror movie, and then transition to this Jesus movie. But then
I
all of a
mean,
sudden, the dialogue is like,
you're telling
we'll
me
get
that
into
it
that.
wouldn't be better to live in an empty New York City as opposed to the rat race that it is. I mean, I think
Look, I've seen enough
that's the
Rick and
vibe
Morty
they're going
episodes
for.
to know that it felt like it felt like a parasite had taken over these people's minds, and they started acting like children, and all of a sudden they were under the possession
I
of this
mean, you're
cult that
telling
was
me
led
it's
by
not
a
more fun to
clown.
be a it's not more fun to be a hippie than to be
I'm not saying it's
thing
not
to
fun.
do.
I'm just saying this is kind of what it came off as to me, and I'm just like, did this? Are we not noticing these things going on here? Like they're possessed. Like they're acting like children. They're
I
possessed.
mean, I don't know that they're necessarily possessed. But I mean, look, I think this is a movie that you are either in alignment with in terms of vibes or not. And let me tell you, it's very clear that you're not, which is fine. But here's the thing to me. So I want to tell kind of my story. So when I was a senior in high school, we did a musical. No, I wasn't in the musical, thank God. I cannot sing to save my life, so I wasn't there. But I was working crew, so all these songs are like firmly entrenched in my brain. So I definitely have a soft spot for the show that you probably just don't, and that's fine. But I don't know, like for me, like this, I guess there is a nostalgia to this movie for me that probably a lot of people don't necessarily have. So I think that's why I'm probably more into it than you.
Well, I think the intro really just threw me off because if they introduce these characters one at a time, and like this Jesus character meets up with them one at a time and like introduces them one at a time and they join them one at a time, like I would buy into it. But the fact they had this Doctor Who type opening with this guy dressed like he's from Doctor Who, and I quote me on that, because if you look at Doctor Who in the '70s at this moment, it looks like that character. I think it's the fourth Doctor at this point, Tom Baker, and like I don't know, man. It just kind of played off weird with the weird choppy editing at the beginning. That was like really creative editing. So I was like, okay, something's happening here. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of jumps into
Something
this
is
like
happening here.
something is happening here. And then all of a sudden, it starts turning into like the Muppets a little bit. And I know that was your vibe, so maybe
It
that's why
is.
you
It
like
is.
this.
It is
And I just
very.
picture
There's a
like
lot of vaudeville influences on
so
this
like
for
I
sure.
guess okay, Victor Garber plays the Jesus character, but he's not Jesus, but he's a reincarnation of Jesus. But they speak as if they're still in Jesus times. So
I
that's what
mean,
kind of threw me off.
the essence of this movie is that this is adapted from the Gospel of Matthew, and contained in the Gospel of Matthew are these series of stories, right? And like
And it's the main series of stories that we know as the Jesus story. Like a lot of the stuff comes from
if you want
Book of
something to
Matthew.
connect to, like think about when Rocky and Bullwinkle aired, and they would have Aesop's fables. Like this is very like the principle is the same. Like he's telling these clear stories with moral endings and whatnot. So that is essentially what the movie is. That it is a series of lessons about God and being good to God and being good like actually good Christian, not like the fake Christianity that you see, but like actually being.
Okay, I'm buy into that. It's just I don't know, just the way it felt like I was talking down to, because the way they were talking, it was like kind of condescending a little bit. Like I was having flashbacks to when I was a child in church in a bad way.
See,
Like,
it's weird.
because there's
I because I can feel the complete opposite.
because like I could feel like the lessons being told in the way that priests used to talk in like those children's programs that were for like Christian kids, right? Just it felt like that, and then all the adults are like acting like children, and not only that, it's like you got the DJ from the Warriors, aka the host of Carmen San Diego, in this, and she's acting like a 4-year-old. So it's just
Her
so weird. And then
her
I don't
her
know.
her rendition though, her voice is amazing. I think.
She's good. Like the music is okay. Like like I think next week I'm going to talk about more about the music because I love the music so much more in Jesus Christ Superstar. But like I
I
don't
mean,
know,
look.
it's just kind of like
I
downbeat.
mean, the hottest take that I have is that I think the music in Godspell is actually better overall. I mean, Jesus Christ Superstar is clearly the best. Like, it's clearly an iconic song. There is no disagreement there. I do like the music overall better than Jesus Christ Superstar. That's my hottest take.
That's a bit of a hot take there because I was feeling those hard rock vibes, but this is like more like you said, vaudeville-ish and like story
It is
time,
very
children
much. It is very
song
much.
kind of thing. And the other issue I have is the plot, and I know
I
you
mean, this movie is
see.
all vibes, right? Like you're mentioning the
Right.
plot,
So I
which
think
is
what I'm
fine.
realizing now is that I think you like movies. You're more accepting of movies that don't necessarily have a plot as long as the vibe is good, like Nashville, where I was waiting for the
Correct.
plot to start until it like started like halfway through.
Correct.
In this case, I don't think we got a plot until the last 10 minutes, and it was very confusing because we do the whole
I
like
mean, it's
Judas
really
turn.
how much of Jesus dying do you want? And for me, like I think this is the appropriate amount of Jesus dying. Like it's literally the last 10 minutes because that I mean that's not really what the movie's about. I also have to say I do like the New York setting. I think actually enhances this movie quite a bit because even though it feels very like slapdash at times, which I don't disagree with, but I think the vibes and it being in New York actually adds a lot to it. And I mean, look, it's weird that the World Trade Center is such a huge part of it, and you get like these lingering shots of the World Trade Center, which have aged really weirdly now. And I think that kind of contributes to the nostalgia.
That I do think so because when I watched this on YouTube, and I didn't watch this as like a YouTube movie, it's like someone uploaded it, and I guess it's legal because there's like a loose on the there's this loosey goosey on the copyright distribution right now, I guess, or something. So when I watched it, it was just a straight up YouTube thing, and like I don't know, it was kind of weird because the comments were like nostalgic about the World Trade Center. So I was like looking at it, and I was like, wow, they did
That
some really
is
great
that
shots.
is
But
hilarious in a
that's but
way.
that's a lot of the comments that were about that, more so than the movie itself. So I was just like, okay, maybe there's this nostalgic thing about these rooftop shops about shots of New York
I mean,
City.
I could see it.
I could
I
see
could
it, you
definitely
know what I
see it.
mean? And like when I watched this movie at first, like the first 10 minutes, I had this vibe of like this feels like Superman 3. Like specifically Superman 3. And I wasn't that far off from the tone because by the end of the movie I was like, you know, this could take place in the Superman 3 universe and it would fit, I think. After everything that happens in this movie. Um the one thing I just noticed was like there's this separation between like actual New York and these people. So it's almost as if they're living in their own fantasy camp within New York and kind of not like acknowledging anyone else in New York until the end of the movie.
I mean, maybe I don't know.
Because like
It
we see these
is
great shots of like the streets of New York at the end of the movie when they got like wide shots with crowds and all that kind of thing. Everything else seems like it's like I Am Legend, right? Where everything is like shut down and we only have the crew with us, so let's kind of film while everything's shut down,
right.
kind of thing. And that's
I
that
I
indie spirit vibe I get, but like it just
I
throws
mean,
me off.
there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that going on. I do have to say, one of my favorite edits in the movie is actually the ending when they like they have Victor Garber's body in the air. They make the turn, and then the camera turns, and it's like regular New York City again. That was a very well done
That
piece of
was
editing, I
trip. That
think.
was that's what I'm talking about. It's like so they are in New York, but they're just not talking to anyone else besides themselves, I guess.
I mean,
Very weird.
again, you're either with this movie or you are not with this movie. That is the essence
It was
of
just weird. I mean, I don't know. It's very. There's a lot of interpretive stuff in this movie that just threw me back because I was fully expecting like a crucifixion and like Pontius Pilate and like the cops as the Roman, which was I was thinking that's what the interpretation was going to be at the end, and the cops didn't show up, and I'm not sure
the
how
cops
even.
kind of showed up.
I mean, the headlights showed up. We don't know if it was a cop car, but the headlights
Correct.
showed up.
Yes.
Um, and then how he died is I'm not sure what happened. I think from my perspective, it looked like the dude was like having a mental orgasm, chain not chained, tied via wrist to a fence, and just died. So I don't know what was going on. I thought they were gonna like crucify him. Was this an electric fence like that TNA match with Homicide and the
Oh
Dudleys?
God, no. Oh God.
Or the Muda match that we
Wow,
reviewed, Thunderdome? Because, like, what the
man.
fuck is going on? Like, I know it's all interpretive, dude, but, like, what the hell was going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, he was just talking, and then all his followers were, like, crying, and they were hitting the fence, and it's like, you could have taken him off the fence, like, 10 minutes ago. What are we doing here? There's no, like,
I know.
Roman soldiers guarding the
It's
body
pretty rare
type
to get
shit.
Brian. It's pretty rare to get Brian this angry. I can't believe that Godspell is what did it.
I know. I just thought this movie was going to be coherent, and it's all loosey
I mean,
goosey,
I
man. And
think it
with
is. I
these,
mean, I think it's coherent in its own way. I don't disagree that the plot is thin, and thin is probably being very generous. But I think again, the movie is very much an interpretation of a very specific gospel because it's Matthew, and Matthew's very like all these stories of the prodigal son. Like the prodigal son is one of the most famous stories in the Bible, and it's very often interpreted in non-religious ways as well. So I think you get some of that, but I mean, I think that for me, like, but the music is I enjoy the music, um, as I've mentioned before. But what I think also works is I do think the performances in terms of the singing are pretty strong, and I think that's again that's part of the vibes thing as well. Like if the singing isn't good, I think this movie is pretty miserable. And again, I think they're definitely going for something, and I really appreciate how different this is from so. Like I think for me, difference isn't always good, but there are so many Jesus movies, and a lot they feel very much the same. They feel like okay, we're in the desert. Jesus is white. He's got a beard. Like that's so many of them. Like even Passion of the Christ, which is highly acclaimed, has made a lot of money, is very violent, is probably a more literal interpretation of what a crucifixion would look like. But they're all very similar. And even Jesus Christ Superstar, I think, plays into some of those very same tropes. The thing that I appreciate about this movie is that it is trying to do something at least different. It is trying to okay, we're not going to be in a desert, we're going to be in a city. We're going to do the complete opposite, instead of something that is very depressing and we're going to focus on the crucifixion, we're going to do something that's a little bit happier, provide some lessons, have some fun along the way. I mean, to me, like I get Sesame Street vibes from this, which I mean, the Muppet thing I think makes a lot of sense, but I think the Sesame Street, like I definitely see some of that in this, in the way that you have a lot of cast members of color, which you would not see in a lot of movies made in 1973. You have a lot of like, again, you have this vibe of like we're living in this concrete jungle, but they're going to have fun. Like that's kind of what they're going for. Two things I want to point out: Victor Garber's very clearly wearing like this off-brand Superman shirt, which you would not be able to get away with, and somebody's wearing a Mickey Mouse shirt too, which is really weird to me.
dude, that Superman shirt threw me off again with a loop because I don't know, it's not the official logo. So
I can
someone,
I can tell you that when my high school did it, the person wore a Superman shirt, an actual Superman shirt.
okay, because I think the issue was that we're gonna get sued for this, so we
Right.
can't make it the exact logo. So we'll make it like really odd looking but
Well, we'll
familiar.
do the team the Timu version.
Yes. Oh, the modern day reference. Yes, the Timu
Right, we
version.
don't do dollar store reference anymore. We do team. Yes.
Right, right. And it is what it is. I get the concept. It's just I think the makeup was a little too much for me because I kept thinking like, God, why am I getting Donate the Clown vibes? Why am I getting Donate the Clown vibes? Why am I getting Donate the Clown? And then I realized it's because it's the hair, and it's not a wig. It's
Yeah,
actually
I can
Victor
see that.
Garber's like hair. And I mean, I'm not insulting his hair. Like a lot of people had froze in the '70s. It threw me off because like
A
Jesus
lot of
looking
people,
like a
yeah.
clown. So I get like, oh, we're gonna make him look like this clown, and he's gonna
I mean,
teach his
Brian,
disciples like children.
John the Baptist slash Judas literally sings like he hums the or does the clown song. I mean, you're not off by that much.
Yeah, and I think the other issue is like the lack of the actual antagonists. You know what I mean? Like, there was no like, I don't know,
I
there was
mean,
no
Jesus and
pilot
John are
for
kind
that
of
character.
antagonistic towards each other. Like that's why he betrays him. I mean,
Right,
again,
but then it's not like they made it seem as if fucking Judas crucified himself or something, and that's not the case. But
I mean that's
I get it.
basically what he did. I mean, he
It's
did literally do
interpretive.
it.
It's
It
interpretive.
is
I get it.
interpretive. Yes, it is interpretive.
Right, and
That's
it's
again
fine.
vibes we're
It's
going
just
for here.
the vibes are kind of throw me off. That's it. Really just threw me off. So, but I think in terms of like the acting's fine. Like a lot of it's good, very good stuff. It's just I think the story is just not there. Like it
I mean,
totally
there's not
kills the vibe.
do not go into this movie expecting a plot. That's what I can tell you, and that's like I
And
think
I
that
know
this
that
movie.
knowing, like I've read the book of Matthew. I read it in 11th grade philosophy class. Like I don't remember a lot of it from like right now, but like we studied the hell out of it in comparison to like as a way of like showing like how Jesus was like has these inconsistent stories about him throughout the New Testament because there's different authors and shit.
Right, there's contradictions that
Which
there
is
would be
why they
without
always focus
different
on like
authors.
the book of Matthew because it's consistent, right? Um, and so I get it. I get it. It's just I
Yeah,
was
I
not
mean,
feeling the vibe, and
a lot of the God, like if you ever went to Catholic Mass and you listen to the Gospels, a lot of them are from Matthew because it's the most linear
right.
of the
And the other
book.
issue I had with the dialogue is that they almost take direct dialogue from the Bible, which it's fine. Like I've seen interpretations of like people taking Shakespeare, literally taking line for line
That doesn't,
dialogue.
that, yeah, that really doesn't bother.
That doesn't bother me because Shakespeare is such a good writer that his dialogue carries over to the modern era, right? But when you're quoting the Bible nowadays, it gets kind of boring with the text, which is why I think it went too
I
literal
mean,
with the
that's why you turn
text.
it into a musical.
Right.
That's
But the problem is now you're making references to Jerusalem and all these different things as if it was modern time, but they're referencing stuff from the past in the modern time as if it were modern. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, clearly they should have just gotten in a time machine and gone back, right?
Like I think they should have just made it in New York and just have like everything just like modern, right? Like modern interpretations, but like not, like not so fantastical and not so like children like, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Because I felt like there was potential here with this New York setting and stuff and like all these different characters, but there was like no characterization of the characters. It's just like like life lessons and proverbs and all this different shit. And it's just like it keeps going and going and going and going. And it's like, okay, well, like what are we gonna what's this leading to? And then it just leads to like this weird crucifixion scene on the fence. So that's where I'm at. I was expecting so much more out of this. And especially with the comments at the beginning when I was reading all the comments, like, oh, this is a New York movie and blah blah blah, and I was like, okay. And it started out like kind of interesting, and then it kind of like crescendoed into me like having to stop, take a break because like my brain was like, okay, what was that scene about? Like, what was going on here? They're just kind of like talking, and then it kept going and going and going, and I had to take more breaks. So this movie took me a while to get through, Jerome, and it's only an hour and 40 minutes. So yeah,
Somehow
that
this
was
movie
tough.
broke.
I know, and I didn't expect that. Like, you expect like Fantastic Four to break a person, or Catwoman, and if I were to pick, I would actually prefer the other two to watch on TV with a gun to my head than
This
this
might be
movie.
your worst take, honestly.
At least we get Halle Berry playing basketball, But
I mean, what if you think that's basketball? I mean,
and that's
it's
one of the worst scenes of all time, and I think I would rather watch that than
genuinely. I would
Garber.
100% watch this over. I mean, and again, I know that I do have a bias, but I think that they're clearly going for something. And again, it doesn't totally work, but I think there's clear that they're clearly going for a very different vibe than any other Jesus
I'll
movie.
say this. I think the best or my favorite part of the movie, and I'll give it proper respect here, is the whole Victor Garber as Jesus doubting himself gimmick. I always like that part of every Jesus story because that's the one part of the story that makes you connect him as a human being. Like, are you
And
sure, God, that you want me to die right
oh
now?
boy, are we going to talk about this in 2 weeks when we talk about Last Temptation? Let
I
me
know
tell you.
that's why I like that movie a lot, dude. That's why that's like one of my favorite Jesus movies. It's because that whole doubt, right? And yeah, we'll talk about that. But I thought Victor Garber was kind of like heartfelt and sentiment about it. You know what I mean? Or like he was really like, God, are you sure? Like, I really don't want to die, man. That's the vibe that I was expecting from that scene, and he delivered well on that. So
Yeah, I think that it's very good. Trying to think if there's anything else. I do think that the best song is actually cut from the movie, and it's obviously if you see the stage show, which I don't know that you ever will. You probably should though, just to see if your opinion changes. Like, is it going to come off differently if you're watching it on stage as opposed to a
well, if
movie?
they
Because
change the beginning where it's not, it seems like this dude is like taking people into a cult. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they just meet them one at a time and introduce themselves and talk
I
to each other,
mean,
then
the 1970s is definitely the I mean, it's the Mari Vishnu thing, right? It's or Mari Krishna.
it's see that's the thing. It's like everyone is accepting of this idea that we're in this cult, but as long as we're happy that we're in a cult and doing good things,
I mean,
you know,
my
God
interpretation
forbid
of a
we're under
cult.
mind control. God, this
My
sounds like this
interpret.
whole Rick and Morty
Listen,
episode all over again.
if it's not a cult unless there's sex involved, then there is no sex involved in this movie.
Are we sure about that? Because there was that one scene where they started kissing each other, like everyone was kissing each other.
All I know is they stopped at the kissing, man. I did not see, as far as I know, I didn't see anything
Yeah,
else.
and also one other thing I want to point out. There's this movie called Zombie. That came out like 10 years later, and it's kind of this famous zombie movie with like the shark fighting the zombie. But the opening shot, or maybe it's the closing shot, they use the same shot on the bridge and that same angle. And I love it every time a movie in the 70s or a TV does that. I think Taxi might have done that in the opening credits, maybe. But you know what I'm talking about, where they put the bridge or the bridge shot and it's centered and the guy's walking down the middle. Like that was used in Zombie, like with zombies and stuff. So I love that. I guess what's that, Brooklyn Bridge?
Yeah,
Okay, so basically it's the Brooklyn Bridge, and there's a certain point where you can put a camera there, and the guy's walking, or whoever's walking in the middle. It looks like such a great shot, and it's been used in other things, but I'm glad they used it in this one because it was a good opening shot. I was like, oh shit, we're opening up with the great cinematography, and then kind of lost me after that. So there you go. I hate to say 1 out of 10, so I'll be nice and say 2 out of 10. But
you would put this in a
yeah,
pile of shame. I'm at a 7.5 out of 10, which might be the greatest disparity that we've ever had on this
and
show.
we've reviewed Zack Snyder movies together, so that's that's something else right there. And it's usually you on the other side of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to let you be the negative Nancy on this one.
I was
All I'm going to
shocked that
say
I
is
was too. I didn't want to be, guys. It's just, man, I was like,
my
where's this leading to? And then it just
my
led to nothing.
my dream episode of Superhero Pantheon was a show where one of us wanted to put it in the Pantheon and the other person wanted to put it in the pile of shame. That was my dream. To
We
just be
almost got
so.
there. We almost got
This
there,
movie is
dude.
very, very close to that.
Like Man of Steel was the closest we got to that, I think. But
I mean,
hey,
I don't even like.
yeah,
I was not. I would never put Man of Steel in the pile of shame for that trailer alone. I couldn't do it, but
your scores were on the border there for a second. So as I recall,
we'll see. All right, next week is Jesus Christ Superstar. Brian's going to be much more positive on this movie. Like, I don't dislike it, but I'm not as high on it as some people. But we're going to talk about all that next week, and then in 2 weeks, Last Temptation of Christ, the main event, the movie that we will probably be most in alignment with. So for Brian, I'm Jerome. Thank you so much for listening. We will talk to you again next week.